Hey guys, welcome back. Video 2, Greg back again. And what we're doing is tutorials. When we left the last time, I said I was going to show you guys how to make some money. And what we will do is make some money. So, for the sake of an argument, what I've done is go back through and do some stuff while you guys were having fun. I went off camera and kind of took care of some money issues and bought some licenses. Actually, I bought all the licenses so that I can show you what each and every one does. Also, we're going to make some money here. So what we're going to do, I've got $148,000 right now. Kind of did a little adjustment to get it to where I had the ability to show you guys what this stuff is. But what we're going to do is we're going to not even pay attention to that. As a matter of fact, I could probably redo that and pause and go take care of that. There are programs out there that can give you more money. There are programs mods out there. They're not programs, they're mods. There are mods out there to get more money. There's mods out there to put a fireman in the steam engine with you. There are mods out there to do all kinds of stuff. Now, normally I don't believe in adding more money, but for the sake of speeding this up and giving you guys an overview of what's going on for this, because I can recorrect that for this video, what I did was get all the licenses so I can show you the different tasks you can do. And I know I can spawn in whatever engines I want and things to that effect. I'm not going to do that. If you know the command, utility key is right there. It doesn't take too much to figure it out. You can clone locos. You can do all kinds of stuff. You just have to know the commands. It's developers' way of doing things. But what I'm doing right now, though, is trying to teach you guys, one, how to operate your locos, two, what you can do and what you cannot do. Straight off the bat, you're stuck with the shunter, which is a powerful machine. Don't get me wrong. A lot of people look down on them and go, oh wow, it's a little two axle diesel pup engine. I believe that's what they used to be called, was a pup. Back way before some of you have been born. Back in the day when I was a little kid. And yes, by the way, I'm an old fart that loves to game. I love to play games. I love to get on here and help people with content, help them learn, maybe solve some questions. So if you're watching the video and you've got any questions, comments, don't be toxic or anything like that. But if you got a question and you really don't know, ask. My grandma used to tell me the only dumb question is the one that you don't ask. So there you go. And you'll hear people say, I'm going to ask you a dumb question. Well, the only dumb question is the one you don't ask. So what we're going to do, in doing my little purchase tour, it reset me back here but behind the turntable, so now I got to take it back out on the main again. No biggie, it's a little bitty drawback. It takes a few minutes. In the meantime, we can go over some stuff. Gotta remember, you know, you're in a shunter or a shuttle. They are powerful. They'll pull about 400 ton. Your big mainline diesel will pull in the area of 1,000 ton. So, you know, when you start linking them together, you start putting down some major power on the ground. And most of your long loads are going to be up in the 1,000 category. So you're going to want to work for certain licenses first. Also, another thing I wanted to show y'all. Get this thing around here. And you're just sitting there going, hey, you went past it. No, he didn't. I want it front end out. One thing to think about when you're doing the turntable, and the turntable is quite useful for making up consists. If you want to take and make a consist of shunters, okay, you want to tie 4 or 5 of them together, 2 of them, 6 of them, I don't know. Sky's the limit. The developers have made the multiple unit. If you can think of it, you can do it. I will tell you this, that some people will tie 4 or 5 of these things together. They're a little more fuel efficient than the DE6. And DE stands for diesel engine, and 6 stands for the amount of axles. DE2 is what we're in, and SH is steam locomotive. The SHS, I think it's 50. I'm not positive. I'd have to actually look at the license. But if you connect together diesels, you can run them in a consist of diesels. I don't believe that you can do it with steam engines unless you use a mod. I'm not sure. Okay, somebody can type in the comments and say, no, that's not right. You can tie steam engines together in the game vanilla. I mean, I don't remember. Okay, so help me out. What we're going to do right now is we're going to make up a consist. We're going to actually do a job, and I want to show you what it takes to get it done. And if you remember, this is where we were the last time. Matter of fact, I'm a little bit past where I stopped the last time, but we're going to go in here. I like walking better than sprinting. We're going to go in here and go through our jobs. Now, realize I'm right now going to go down from the licenses. I can pick any job on this table right now that I want and take it and get paid for it in the whole 9 yards. I can actually pull it because I've gone in and bought every license in here. Okay, it's the SH282. Now 282 stands for 2 forward, 8 drivers, and 2 trailers. That does not count the coal tender. A 282 is 2 front, lead axle, 8 drivers, and it's wheels on the ground. That used to be the old definition of how steam engines were defined, as they were a 484 or a 410-4, a 464, a 262. That is a 282. So now you know what that means. I have concurrent jobs so I can get as many as I want, but we're only going to do one job at a time right now, because I'm going to do it as if we're just starting. I do have the licenses, but I want to get it to where I can show you guys what each one of these are and not have to come back here every time I turn around and show it to you. So I've got all the licenses, no big deal. It was just a little money issue. Took care of it. Now, look at the tonnage and look at what you're doing. Okay? What you're going to do is one pickup, prepare a train with steel rails for departure. Okay? And it pays $5,000. Okay? Your goal at first is to get, we're going to hold on to this because we're going to do that job. Your first goal, now when you start, you're going to have train driver, freight hauler, and if you remember when we broke on the last video, we had shunting. We bought it and we had like $1,000 left. Your next purchase is multiple unit or not concurrent jobs, but train length. Okay? Let's pull that out. Train length. Okay, this license grants you the access to jobs up to 10 cars long. Train length 1, right now you can only pick up 4 to 6. Train length 1 gives you up to 10 cars. So you can start picking up heavier jobs, more money in turn. It turns your insurance copay up to $3,000, and it also turns up your bonus deadline trim back 2%, and it costs $10,000. So you want to make 10 grand as soon as you can, but remember, always clear your fuel first. Don't spend a bunch of money on this, that, and the next thing and jumping around, because you can fast travel yourself broke. Okay? If you fast travel yourself broke and your engine is low on fuel, the only thing you can do is grab another engine, do shunt jobs or whatever you can, whatever engine you grab or you're licensed for, and then you're screwed. You have to make enough money to pay for the engine that you ran out of fuel plus the engine you're using. And if you don't have the maintenance license, manual maintenance, you will end up in the poorhouse. Standard maintenance, paying off maintenance on the manager will definitely cost you money. The career manager is cool as far as paying for stuff. Here, I'll show you this. Fees, we just pulled up from and it's sitting there idling. We walked away from it and it's sitting there idling. See how much it's costing? It's like 8 cents a second just to idle. That's not pulling anything. Okay? If you don't have the money to clear that, okay, the $384 when it's going up, if you don't have money to clear that, you can't buy a license. So don't fast travel around the map looking for stores and buying stuff in stores. Concentrate on getting jobs done first, then do a little bit of jumping if you want, but make sure you're buying your licenses to upgrade what you can do. So let's get out of that. That's depressing for people who have actually done it. The first time I played the game, I went bankrupt because I wanted to go see all the cities, and I didn't think about burning up my wallet, and I ended up stuck at the coal mine, I think. And the only thing that was there was a steam engine, and I didn't have steam engine license, so I had to sprint down to a town that had a shunter, do some shunt jobs, and build up my money from zero. I mean, I think I had like $30, and I couldn't fast travel anymore, and I was like, oh, that was stupid. But there are people that do stuff like that. You know, I want to go look around, and you want to explore the map, but you want to do it when you're comfortable, when you have when you got some money in the bank and you're actually doing okay. And if you remember, I told you everything you buy goes in here. You go a little ways away from wherever you dropped it, and it'll pick it up and throw it in that building. Those are all the licenses I bought. Stop, hit F. Now we want to open that job. Let's get it where we can see it. It's 258 tons, and it's 90.22 meters long. It should take us around 12 minutes to do the job, which I doubt, because I've already lost 35% of the time because I bought all those licenses. So you won't see me getting bonuses for quite some time. It is 5 cars, which with just the standard license, if you remember I told you, you look down on that license requirements. If I didn't tell you, I'm telling you now. License requirements, if you hold the DVHR license, you can pull this load as long as you have shunting. Okay? You have to have 2 licenses, shunting and the train driver, which DV is train driver. So if you spend $1,000 and got shunting, you can pull this load. It only pays $5,000, but it's halfway there to the $10,000 you're going to need to buy train length 1. So let's figure out where it's at. It is in, and on this page too, if you notice, it says 1 pickup. That means that you've only got to hook up once. Sometimes there's 2 pickups, sometimes there's 3 pickups, and you got to go hunting the cars. It says it's in A5, which we're in A right now. And this is what I meant earlier in an earlier video. There's 2 ways of lining yourself up. Excuse me. There's 2 ways of lining yourself up. If you notice, that switch is going the wrong direction. And now that I've got all my goodies, remember that the red line is your switch. Okay, I got a couple other toys on there, and you want to change that switch. You want to look down there, and A5 is going to be over here, I think. No, it ain't. Let's go look. I told you that you may want to run down, check the switch configuration, see if the points are in the right spot. Here's a perfect example. Oh, geez, there is flat cars in here. Sorry for the coughing. I have COPD, so I have to cough this junk out of my chest every once in a while. I believe that this is our job. Now, see the line of cars and the numbers below? On every car, there's that sticker. Okay? It says vehicle 100%. That means there's no damage to it. That doesn't mean it's 100% loaded. It just means there's no damage. It is CFF 447, and if you look at either end of your run, CFF 447 is the head end of your run, or the tail end, it doesn't matter. When you take this run, you can stick it into where it's got to go. Either direction, it makes no difference. And it's going to end up going into B6. We're going to fill it up in A7. So what we want to do is get our comm radio again. Okay? And we want to run out and check our points as we go. So you're going to run out toward your shunter. This one is set to go that way. Okay, here's a little trick. See how it's straight, that line? If it were going the wrong way, and your cars are straight down that line, if it were going the wrong way, it would look like that. That flag up there would be pointing to the right instead of the left. But straight through is like that. Now, you don't need the comm radio to change a switch. Walk up, light it up, left mouse button changes the switch, do the same again. Okay, let's do a little sprinting. We are actually not sitting on the correct line to go get it. So, and if you notice my light back there, see that? Here, let's get off. See, it's red. That's because we've got it in forward. The other thing I did want to mention, if you notice, your radiator is up here. There is no airflow here. When you start pulling freight from town to town, you want all of your shunters pointing forward, and this is forward. Okay, otherwise you don't get airflow, it'll overheat and do bad things. Damage the engine, or you can actually kill an engine by overheating it too long. And then you have to do the repair, and it costs money, and remember, all that crap costs money. So now we're in the shunter again. Now you can pull your comms radio out, and remember I said you don't have to be at the controls. This is what's really cool, is you can stand on the back if you want. And since our headlights are pointed that way, that means we're gonna go that way. So let's go that way. Giddy up, horsey. And we're going to slide through this switch. And we're going to make it go off to the right so we go back in there. So we reverse. Notice my lights changed. I love that mod. That's one of my recommendeds, is locomotive lights. It's on Nexus. You'll enjoy it. And we know that our other switch is lined up because we did that manually. Now, if you're looking to make a bunch of bonuses, there's things you can do, and I'm going to show you how to get around it to where you make bonuses. And it's all legal. There's certain points that it allows you to do. Of course, later on, the devs are probably going to get it to where you can't do that. You'll have to be sitting hooked up to it when you start. And again, we're doing a reasonable rate of speed. Backing in. You could go a little faster if you want, but like I said, control of your unit is critical. You got to keep it under control. It's like driving a car. Keep it under control, otherwise bad things can happen. About 1 car length away, we're going to start applying independent. Release when we get down to nothing. You can bump a car and not damage it at about 3 to 4 miles an hour. Anything over 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, you start causing damage. When you start causing damage, it starts costing money. So what we're going to do now is we're going to run around here. And remember, I showed you how to do this. And we're going to connect up. Sling it up on there. Tighten up the ratchet lock. Okay. Grab the end, shake it around, find the other arrows. And hit 1 valve, 2 valves. Now you've put air to the train if you used your independent brakes to stop. So what you can do, if you're a conscientious engineer, you're going to check all your numbers. Me, all I do is glance in between the train to make sure my couplers are coupled tight. See, they're done like they're supposed to be, because sometimes you'll have too many cars, or sometimes you'll have a car on there that's not supposed to be there. Another trick or cheat, some people call it a cheat, it's not. It's something that locomotive switchmen have done for years, is blow the air at the back end of the train, and you can drop it off to where it just hisses, shut it off, count to 10. If it builds back up, it means you're hooked up correctly. If it doesn't build back up, that means you have messed up and you've got a bad coupler somewhere. But it built back up, everything's fine. You checked all your couplings on the way up, so now you're a good switchman. You're running back up to your engine, and your engineer's building air, which some engineers get ticked off that you do that air bleed. Sorry, the company I used to work for, if you did that as a switchman, it was a signal to the engineer you're between the train, not to move. Also, it was also a safety feature that you could induce without causing a lot of problems, because the engine would build back up air pressure by the time you walk back up to the engine. If you're doing yard work, engineers would get a little upset because they'd have to pop it in neutral, speed the engine up to build air. But the company I worked for, and I'm not going to mention them because I just don't. It was a long time ago. My grandfather worked for him, my father worked for him, I worked for him. I was expected to stay and work for him, and I broke protocol, I guess you want to call it. But I basically just told my dad, I don't plan on being an engineer. I don't want to be an engineer. You know, you didn't want to be an engineer. You did it for 4 years. You were a conductor, and you took your engineer's test, passed it, and you were an engineer for what, 3 weeks, and you quit. So don't bitch at me when I quit. And he understood. So that was one thing I could say about my family. My grandfather was kind of a tick turd about it, but Oops. Remember we made the mistake of going the wrong direction one time? I just did it again. But at least I wasn't getting in a hurry. Now here, you can come up about half throttle, get it rolling real good, bring it up to about 20, save fuel, coast. Inertia is your best friend in a train, especially when you got cars. If you're in an engine by itself, the inertia is not as great. Remember, bigger the mass, the better the inertia. It's all physics. And if you're big into physics, you know what gravity is. Gravity is a bitch, and she'll come and bite you. You're going to go through this switch, and you can actually cheat if you're a smart switchman and run to the back of the train on the cars, and when you go past the switch, hit the brakes, and all you do is bleed the air off. And that was also why we had communications. If you're smart, you watch the shadow of the cars that go past the switch, and it'll tell you when you're in the clear. And that's what it's called, in the clear. Now you walk out here, bring your comms radio up again. You can actually zoom in on it. You see that the flag is going the wrong way. Hit your comms radio, it beeps, tells you it's going the right way, and that is 7 that you're backing into. That's another thing to be on the railroad. You had to have good eyesight. Great eyesight. Jump onto your cab, get in your train, change your gears. First thing, release your brakes, and throw her into throttle. Now you're going into that straight track. My suggestion, when you get into the game and you're doing yard work, walk around the yard once and take note of where the load track is, where the inbounds are, and where the outbounds are, where the storage tracks are, and use your map. Loading is all done on one track. One track is an L. So you have to know where that's at if you're going to do any shunt work. Shunt work doesn't pay fantastic, but you don't burn as much fuel as you would on a rail run. I mean, run into the harbor town, it's all downhill going there, but remember, coming out of there, it's all uphill. So you're going to burn a lot of fuel. And shunt work, you don't burn a ton of fuel, not a lot of wear and tear on your engine, and you can actually make some good change on it. There were people, I watched a couple of YouTubers say that, shunting is stupid, or it's something that you don't really need to do. No, shunting's important because remember I showed you the flow chart, which I'm going to go look at again and show you again. I'm going to do that almost every video because that flow chart, take it and you load it. Boom, 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 boom. You're loaded. Okay? This is why this doesn't take a long time. But your flow chart tells you that your shunting is truthfully important, because if you load out a bunch of stuff and fill a yard and there's no spare cars, then the AI is going to take over and move stuff around. If there's no jobs on the desk, then the AI is going to kick in and go, ooh, we need more work. We need more cars. We need this. We need that. It's going to create more jobs. So, it's to your benefit to do shunt work, to do logistic work, and to do freight hauls. Do all three. Do them just to have fun doing a consist, pull up a consist. You're going to want to make longer trains, heavier trains, more profitable trains. The more cars you can get from place to place at one time, the more money you make. It's plain and simple as that. So now we've loaded our cars. So we're going to pull up, not the comms radio, we don't need that to see where we're going. We're going to A5S to couple, A7L to load, and uncouple is going to be on B60. We're not in B, we're in A. So what you're going to do in a smart maneuver, pull up your map. I actually just moved my map. That was smart. Pull up your map. Pull up the steel mill. Every time you save and exit, it resets your map back to default closed. So if you see that it's disappearing all the time, don't worry about it. That does it to everybody. Okay, you're in B section. If you look up top right, it's steel mill, SM, B section. All of those tracks in there, whether they're I, O, or S, are B section. You're going to 6-0. You'll be coming in from the northeast because you're leaving out of A section to the northeast. So you'll be headed southwest. So when you go into that yard, you're going to go straight to the right and then to the left. And remember I said we were going to run the tracks a couple of times. Let's go do that on this one to save us a lot of headaches. You can actually just flip over here and do it real quick. Every track is marked. They're not marked all in the same spot. If you look at this one, it's 8 and 7S. Those are storage tracks. This one is going to be 6-0. Voila. See the B with the arrow, and it points down to this track. You're going to run out, and you're going to look at your points. These points are sending you on straight. So you have to change the switch. And now you're pointed up into 6-0. You go to this one, and I can tell you right now it's pointed straight to go through because this is your main. So you're going to have to take and make it go off to the right. The two switches down yonder in the pawpaw patch. My grandma used to say that, way down yonder in the pawpaw patch. The one switch down there you're going to have to change after you pull your train through. This one is on straight. You're going in on the main to the first switch in the yard. This is not truthfully a yard switch. This is the main split. So you're going to go straight, right, left. Your switches are lined up. You know it. Now you can go climb in your train. You can do a little bit of force pushing or force pulling. depending on if you're pushing or pulling. And you can get it done. Makes it a little easier. You don't make mistakes as much. I don't do it a lot, but once again, and you don't have to worry about whether this stuff's trapped down. When the automatic machine loads it, it's well strapped down, so loads don't slide off. Eventually they'll probably put mechanics in the game where they do, because that would be realistic as all get out. Hauling rolls of steel is dangerous. And if you can't tell my accent, I'm from the Chicagoland area, so there's 5 train companies up there. You can figure out which one I worked for. And I'll put it this way, it wasn't GT. And it wasn't Conrail. It was before Conrail was even thought of. Little history on me. So now we're going to get into train. Make sure we're going the right direction. Let our independent brake off. Now you're loaded, so independent brakes are a thing of the past. Simple fact. You are not going to stop 300 tons with independent brakes, because independent brakes are only on the locomotive. If you have 5 locomotives tied together, your independent braking acts more like a dynamic brake than it does the train brake. Your train brake is up here, your independents are down there. And on your keyboard, your independents are going to be M as in Mary, N as in Nora, and you use those 2 keys to bring them on and off. Plus, the train brake takes longer to release than the independent. So, adjust yourself. You also got to give it a little bit more boost to get it moving. If you notice, I'm almost a half throttle and we're crawling like a snail, but we are gaining speed. Don't get in a hurry. You can get her up to about 20, 25 kilometers per hour. All these trains are in kilometers, not US miles per hour. They go by kilometers. Miles are not there. They go by meters long. The tons are not tones, they're tons, and they're not metric tons or standard tons. And we got her up to about 22 miles an hour. If you notice, she's a little shaky going through the switches. That's normal. The easiest cars in the game to derail are the ones you have on right now. Flat cars are finicky little creeps. Watch your signal. 3 cars from the signal, you're going to dump your train brakes in the first notch, and then you're going to start steadily applying them. Release. Lock your train down with your independents. And now comes the fun part of trying to tell whether you made it through the switch or not. And this is pop quiz. How would you tell whether or not you've made it through? The easiest way to tell, and it's from the engine, so I'm going to get up back here, back close. If you look at the ground, there's a shadow. If you line up the shadow with the switch, no, we're not through the switch. We're halfway through. There's still about 1.25 cars to get through. That's why you released your train brake when you got out of the cab. So we're going to get back over in the cab. Train brakes are released. We're going to release our independent. Now we're going to just inch forward or ease forward. We're going to do the Moses routine. And seeing as we hit the fuel and she started to take off, we're going downhill. So you don't really have to hit the fuel. You're going to accelerate while you're right there. Watch your shadows. When you see the shadows disappear off your switch, and I'm talking about the little piece right there on the ground. When you see that disappear off your switch, you're in the clear. And the train brakes take a while to engage. Come on, beast. That was slow. Anyhow, back to your comms radio. Find your switch. It's not one to light up. Okay, maybe at a distance. Don't know. We went quite a ways past the switch. So, teleport. Change your switch. Yeah, we did go quite a ways past the switch. That's alright. If you're new, you're going to do this a lot for the first little bit. Okay, once you get used to train handling, it'll come with time. Don't get frustrated with the game. It does have quite unforgiving physics. Now we know our switches are lined up, but we also know when we released our train brakes earlier, we started rolling. Guess what? We're at a quarter throttle and we're not going anywhere. Actually, we're losing ground. So we're going to have to keep gaining until the train comes to a stop. It'd be helpful if I had it in reverse. And we're still losing. There we go. Finally got enough power on it to make it move. Sometimes when you're on a hill, you won't be able to get it to move. You'll have to ease down to the flat spot to get a good run at it and get up. And you have to sand all the way up. Sand is expensive, oil is expensive, diesel fuel is expensive. Here we go again. I know I sound like a broken record with that, but it's true. You know, that stuff it costs money. And we know we're going uphill, so we're not going to come totally off the power yet. Let her slide up in there. We don't have a lot in the way. As a matter of fact, I don't think there was anything at 6.0 when I looked. But we're not even close to it yet, so don't slack off till you think you're on the flat. Then let her coast. We're only doing about 10K, so 10 clicks a minute ain't no big deal. And you don't have to stay in the cab. I mean, run around a little bit. You can ride back here. Here's a little neat trick. If you're shunning in like this, you can ride the back of the train to tell where you're going. If you got up enough speed, if you want to stop the train, all you got to do is open that valve. You let a little bit of air off and that train will come to a stop. Now there is stuff on the track we're going into, but it's quite a ways down there. So we're actually pretty good at getting in this slot. Here's a little switchman's trick. Watch your engine. Watch your train coming in. and watch your railroad ties, they'll tell you if you're slowing down too quickly. And right now we're not slowing down at all. We're actually keeping a pretty steady speed. So we're going to let it continue. That sign right there is where we want the head of the train. You have to be within the clear of the slot in order to get paid. If you're out in the train wash, you got a problem. And I just let it slide up on in here and get close to the next load down here, because it's probably all going to Harbor Town. Mostly rails and stuff go to Harbor Town. So you're coming in about 10 miles an hour, so you don't want to get too close. So you pop that valve and you come to a safe stop. Your engine is still at idle and you came to a safe stop in the switch or in the yard with no problems. And now, seeing you're in your spot and you're all set out, you don't have to unhook to get paid. Okay? There was one guy saying in a video I watched that you had to have your train unhooked. Okay? Here's your proof. Complete. Do not forget to pick up your payment. $100 bills. We got money. Okay? You made $5,000. It's not bad. Okay? It gives you the times you picked it up. You moved the cars from A5. You moved the cars to the loading. You moved the cars to the final destination, which was A or B6. O. You did what you were supposed to do. You moved from 7L to 6O. Gives you times on each. You validated the job 1 minute after you got in and parked. Okay. No time bonus because we didn't hurry. We made $5,076. Well done. Pat on the back and attaboy. No squirrels killed. Done deal. This is what I mean by you can make money doing this. Now, remember we owed $343, I think. That's how much we owe in fuel right now. Fuel, wear and tear. Fuel, oil, and wheels. Okay? It's right there. $2,300 for the one run. So truthfully, we made about $2,700 because we have that to deal with. You won't be dealing with it as much when you start because your time bonus window will be normal. Right now, like I keep saying this, and I need to show you guys instead of just saying it. My stats right now, I lose 35% of the time bonus deadline, which means if there's 60 seconds, I lose over a third. So I get 20 seconds docked because I have so many licenses. That's the bad part about picking up more and more licenses, is your time bonus deadline gets docked. Copays, my copay is huge right now because I've got all the licenses. Current money, as you can see, is quite a bit, but that isn't truthful. Actually, we have about $5,000 and $1,000. We got about $15,000 or $18,000 truthfully, which I'll correct that in the next video, and the money's going to go back down. but I'll show you how you can survive, make money, enjoy the game, and all the other good stuff. We did our run. We did it well. Only a few little hiccups. The Alzheimer's only kicked in a couple of times. Old-timer's disease, or craft as I call it. Can't remember a freaking thing. So, don't get in a hurry. Be safe. Make up your trains. Stay within the specifications for the engine you're running. To get the D6 is $200,000. That's something you're shooting for. You want to take and make yourself a better train driver with the little one first. You can team up once you get multiple engines, and I want to show you that. It's not cheap either, but hey, nothing in this game is cheap. The engine you're driving is $1 million. You know, that's what they cost. You go to licenses, multiple unit. This allows you to put units together. This license grants you the ability to put multiple units together. It costs 30 grand, $30,000 for that. It kicks your insurance copay up, and you lose another 1% on your time bonus. But now you can put more power on the ground. It is very useful when you're needing more power. If you don't want to use that much fuel, or you don't need it, simply turn the engine off. You're going to drag its weight, but you're not using fuel. And you're not going to have wheel slip and all that. You can still operate the whole train from the one that's shut down, standing on it or standing in it. It just isn't running. Good thing to remember. But here we are at the end of this run. And I'm going to title this one the first run. And from here on, we're going to start doing a little bit of a playthrough. Next time, maybe we'll do a little consist building. Tips and tricks on how to do that. I've got more and more plans for this. If you have something you want to see, or something that you want to see done, please comment down in the comments section. I know that 50% of the people that watch this will not subscribe, but hey, pop the subscribe button, hit the little bell down there, do all notifications, so that when I put new content up, if you want to watch it, you can. Pop a thumbs up, hit a like down there. Let me know if you like it. If you don't like it, that's fine too. But, if I'm doing something wrong, or you catch a faux pas in my instruction, or helping you, or if I can do something better for you, all constructive criticism is great. Negative criticism is not needed. Have a great day. Enjoy yourselves. And happy engineering. I'm out of here.